Mr. PR has played before in these Kibitzing games. Here we go. Is Fiendcato 66 going to make it a hat trick? Will he win for his third time in a row? We have the Queen's Gambit declined, and the Semi-Slav, and now the Marshall Gambit. Ooh. White is coming out aggressive here, huh? Well, this is... it's the Marshall Gambit. That's what is coming up on ChessCube, at least. But where is there a Gambit? I don't see where there was a Gambit. White didn't invest anything. No pawns were invested on the white side. And where will there be a break for the black side? E5 or C5? This seems quite difficult to do. A, because there's already a knight naturally there to defend. B, because you can anticipate a rook eventually on a half-open file. You'd want to go there anyhow. And I don't have a C point. Maybe even the queen could go there too. But it seems like C5 will be the most likely break at this white structure. As otherwise, what does this bishop even do? If you're not getting in E5, he's not coming out along this classic diagonal. And, well, if B6, if he's coming to B7, you eventually have to do this before he can see. I guess white wants this bishop on this main dark diagonal where it would also control E5. Seems good. This queen is close to running out of squares. Actually, this is... if this pawn wasn't here, bishop G5, excuse me, bishop G5, like you could see in the queen trap video with the French defense. It's very, the Fort Knox variation, very similar to that. The bishops just cut out all the squares at the queen. He has light, the bishop would have dark, but H6 is there. That was what, that's why black made that move, and now there's a lot of time being invested on this move right here. I thought the idea with bishop D2 would be to play to C3. Maybe white wants to first inconvenience this bishop, taking here, and only then play to C3 with tempo. So that's actually something to consider, because if bishop C3 first, pawn takes, bishop takes, E5 could then be played with tempo. But not the case if white was already castled, as otherwise there could be a couple captures on the E file, and then white could meet, white could follow up with the pin. Two bishops on adjacent diagonals, this pawn could be captured. White is not going with that, though. I think black in return would be getting this pawn on G. I think that white wants to go queenside when I'm seeing queen D2. Now it's captured. Oh, okay, hang on now, because rook here could be met with queen takes H3, and all of a sudden bishop to H7 would be killing the rook in short order. There is this check black could be throwing in, but I don't know that that's really going to go anywhere. Could bump the king up to E2 if you're really... well, I don't see anything wrong with E2. You have this square covered. These knights cancel out one another. They're fighting for the same squares. They offset. That's how I view this position right here, at least with regard to the knights. I'm not fearful of him for as long as I can maintain my knight on F3. And in order to complete development for white, I'm thinking about rook H to D1, and then my king could get to safety, castling artificially, playing back to F1. This is still there, bishop H7, and how to defend against it? Pawn advance. I guess black is saying, you know what, I'm content with giving up the exchange. Black will be castling now. Bishop takes, the rook is there to recapture. I don't see anything better. Or maybe, you know what, black is saying, you know what, I want to take the dark square bishop or the light square bishop. That's what black is thinking about now. Okay, black is what? Black wants to get that light square bishop. And now how can maybe black put pressure on white's light squares? Okay. I guess I was going to say they're castled on opposite sides, but not really. You could kind of view it like that. White is, of course, not castled just yet, but rook h to d1. It's a good move. If the king is ever in check, he has a way to get back to safety and still have the rooks coordinated. I view it as opposite sides castling at this point, and the idea will still be to try and open up some lines against one another's king. This seems like it should have been played much sooner, this f5 move, so the queen could hit at g7 as well. Less than 2 minutes for black. A time and position edge for white. There we go. f5 is played. And this bishop, I think, can calmly come all the way back here, or... Okay, if it came all the way back here, this pawn would drop, but maybe that's okay even for white, because it would open up a new file. This pawn is dead, but this bishop, I think, is going to be dead right back. No, not so fast. There's queen check. And the rook comes back. Rook comes back, queen here. Queen h4 to defend the bishop. Then there isn't any more of this perpetual attacking of the queen. Or is there? Is this going to be a perpetual attack on the queen? No way. Queen h4, rook g5. Queen h6, rook g6. White has these squares covered. What am I missing? Maybe there's some in-between shot. Yeah, this knight could stir up some trouble. Knight g5 stuff. Less than 2 minutes. White is going into a pretty big thing. They had about a minute advantage. And that is officially evaporated. Knight g5 is played. The queen is hit. An in-betweener. Okay, I think rook takes queen, knight takes queen, rook back over to f8 actually is not working because of knight e5, counterattacking against the bishop, and if knight takes knight, bishop takes knight. Did you follow that? Rook takes queen, rook f8, knight e5, knight takes knight, bishop takes knight. We are seeing all of this. Wow. What are the chances? What are the chances? Am I a good guesser? Am I a good guesser? Bye-bye bishop. Let's see how good they are with... let's see how good a guesser I am when they have very little time. Who picked up on that one? Let's see how good a guessers they are. Let's see how good a guesser I am when they have little time. Okay. 1 minute, 17 seconds. Rook is hit, pawn is hit, 113 to 48. Ah, a little sneaky move there. Pawn check if the king took. We're going to fork and the knight would be dead. White is up a full rook and a bunch of pawns. Minute 6 to 42. The king is ready to hide on a7. He's ready to hide. Oh. There's knight checks and this rook is dead. Oh. More material. Gone. Gone. 54 seconds to 37 seconds. White is down time and position. He's running for his life now. And we have resignation. GG.